There's two things I'm happy about. That I was born poor and I stuttered. Challenging, baby. Challenging. Let's go get them. When I was 19 years old, I dropped out of college at Wayne State University and moved to New York to take a job as an associate, like editor of this new magazine. And like what it was, I was like a glorified messenger boy for the editor. And so she would send me to drop off a package to the president of the Metropolitan Museum of Modern Art. The first package was going to Museum of Modern Art, and this was the first time I'd ever been to a museum. I went in, and that experience changed my life. I saw painting for the first time. And I was a young writer at the time, and I knew that this is something that could challenge me. And it took me 2 years to have the courage and nerve to take an art class, and I'd never drawn anything. And it was September 1960. I took my first drawing. It was a drawing 1 class. I went to class. I was 22 years old, and this was like a beginning drawing class, and so everyone there was like 18 years old, and they were all young artists. I'd never drawn anything before in my life. It was the hardest thing I'd ever done. And what happened was that after class, I smoked a joint and was crying like a baby. And that day I decided that I wanted to conquer this, and I drew every day for 2 years straight, and I got it. And so this is how I started. So here it's like some images it's really hard to see. Have you seen these?
Yeah.
I mean, boom, and boom, it's like there's white ink over this, and there's no white ink over this.
Yeah.
So
this is chalky, and this is,
boom. When I started, painting, after like when I started graduate school, I wanted to approach painting from a way that had never been, like in my eyes, that had never been approached before. So the first thing I looked for was that, how can I paint without using a paintbrush? Number one, because I want the element that I'm painting to come directly from my hand. And then I thought that painting was really impersonable. I mean, it was like the artists that I was I knew about, they were making work that had nothing to do with the human element. It was like, nothing emotional. And I said, okay, no. I want to slowly bring who I am to my work visibly, as opposed to being, hidden away. And so there's a piece in this show, the piece from 1985 called Martin Angel Brown, was the first time I ever used a recognizable image in my work. And it frightened the hell out of me, because it worked. And so at that point, I slowly decided, okay, cool. I'll bring in elements of my personal life, and I will place them underneath my work. And that became the underconscious of the work. Because for me, like abstraction comes from some place. And so I need to find my place. And so here I am. Boom. It's amazing I still have it. I could have sold this piece many, many times in, but I refused because for some reason I knew to keep it.
Yeah, it's the source.
It's source, right. The first time I used a recognizable image.
This is your home, right?
Yeah, the house that I lived in with
In Mississippi.
like with 11 people. My siblings and my parents, and we had an outhouse.
Yeah.
And it was like, I'm trying to figure out how I get toilet trained in an outhouse.
Yeah.
It's totally wild stuff. It's totally wild stuff. I mean, like to come from this to right where I am now, that's a long way, baby.
Then the Super Hanes.
What?
This series that downstairs.
Oh, the Haints, wow. The Haints are something that, like to me, it kind of frightens me. Because I discovered Haints, Haints and my Haints are people you see that have already, that have already passed away. So, like going back, I'm looking for stuff that's never been used. And Haints is it's a kind of a frightening thing. And I went to the countryside in the depth of the night and found Haints. I mean, I really found Haints, like people that in my family that I knew were dead, that I saw. And I get chills just thinking about it now. And then I had to figure out how to, to make the work. Boom. Mississippi was where I was born. And that's how it started. And I don't know how I really got there. I mean, I'm not a big spiritual person, I think, but that was spiritual. In my address book, there are 50 musical artists, friends of mine. They're all here.
Oh, really?
Everyone's here. Like also, I wanted Duke Ellington because, so I saw him as conducting all my friends.
Yeah.
So that's how it happened. And also Duke's the only, most artists I knew, but Duke I didn't know.
Okay.
Also my favorite photograph of Duke Ellington, he's in a hotel in a bed with 5 different ice creams in front of him.
This is so cool.
Yeah.
So cool. Which ones did you know, which of the musicians that are in here that we might know about?
For every one, Chico Freeman, you heard of him?
No.
Chico Freeman is kind of a major dude.
Okay.
My DNA means Detroit Negro artist. When you think of the New York School of Painting, 40s, 50s, and then suddenly the artists that were making basically a Picasso-esque kind of paintings became this pure abstractionist. How did that happen so quickly? Ding. Bebop jazz artists introduced them to improvisation, and I know this because they would go to the music clubs and listen to the music, and then all of a sudden, boom. And so for me, it's like if your most important contemporary artist movement of the time was coming from black people, but no one ever talked about that. And so, like, and also, I also noticed, like, over the years, there have been a lot of artists that tried to bring music into their work and it failed. So for me, being a, quietly super competitive person, I said, okay, I'm gonna figure it out. I want for you to look at my painting, to stand in front of my painting and say, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. I don't know why. Because like right now, the white art world, like, well, number one, it's a whole new market, of buying black artists. But for me, I'm thinking like, I don't want someone to look at my work and say, that's done by a black person. No. I want to rise up above all that stuff. And, it's like I still want it. I mean, I can't say it any better than that, I think. I'm very competitive. I think I have a really good eye. And as a person, I mean, if you're right there as an artist, I want to beat your ass. I mean, I'm very, hopefully quietly, but it's kind of loud now. I'm very competitive, and I think that's a good thing. But overall, I'd say that I'm at a point now in my life and my work that I reached a place that I've wanted for a long time. It's kind of like the less I know, the more I know. Does that make sense? Because it's like I can explore the world better by not knowing where I want to go. That's it. So I made a decision when I turned down Mary Boone, made a decision, and at the same time I was offered an adjunct position like at Hunter College, and I turned them both down to drive a taxi cab because I had made more money. I also had complete freedom. As opposed to being a college professor adjunct, making $1,500 per a semester as a cab driver, I made $300 a night. I'm in the process now of developing new work. Like I'm going to a place that I've never been. And so it's the kind of, and like when I'm, when that's happening in life, I can't talk, and I stutter like crazy. Which gets back to the point of like stuttering is kind of like what made me what I am, because if you can't talk, I became a professional listener. And then I realized you can't learn while you talk. I mean, it's like it took me forever to just think to myself, this is how you talk, man. No one else cares but you. But it's a key thing to my life that I want to speak visually. Boom. That's a good one there.